things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner, is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Hello.
Lasers.
Hello. This is My Life DIY, and
hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Rippin' Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to DarkWolf's Den.
The DarkWolf's Den Show on Ripon Common Sense Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Are ghosts real?
We had 1,000 hours of continuous communication with the spirit world.
Does time travel actually exist?
The laws of physics seem to be compatible with time machines.
You know, sometimes I wonder about reincarnation, don't you?
A 4-year-old boy in Adelaide, Australia, has told his parents that he used to be Britain's Princess Diana.
What would happen if the world found out that aliens were real?
I didn't say disclosure would be easy, but what is the alternative?
To establish a space force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
We have so many questions and yet so little time, so to have you here, the pleasure is all mine.
Coming to you from a secret mountain cave, hidden deep within the Idaho wilderness, this is the DarkWolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live across the multiverse from a secret cave, hidden high up in the beautifully snow-covered peaks of the Idaho mountains. That's right. We're ripping through the electromagnetic soup, tearing through the atmosphere, and tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the DarkWolf's Den Show for Thursday, May 20th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start a series, a brand new series here on the DarkWolf's Den Radio Show, and we're going to start going over the secret K.G.B. book of alien races. I've been getting this fumbled up so many times when I go to talk about it. I'm so glad I got that straight. I do apologize for last night, ladies and gentlemen. We had a big technical glitch getting the show out across the airwaves, so this is only the second show we've ever missed, and I'm proud to say that. So let's go ahead and get into this show, ladies and gentlemen, and get this party started. But first, today in history. After serving as host of The Late Show with David Letterman for 33 years, David Letterman's last episode aired on this day in 2015. And I gotta say, I did enjoy watching him and Carson. That dates me, doesn't it? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is today's Today in History. Man, it doesn't feel like he's been off the air that long. I stopped watching TV years ago, but I did like watching David Letterman when I was younger. On this show, we're always trying to evolve and trying to make the show better with every passing year. And since we just hit our first birthday, I thought about something, and something I would like to add to the show here in year 2. We do the Today in History every day, but I also would like to add a quote of the day, right? That's always something that's fun. I always liked when they would do, different shows or whatever, would do a quote of the day. And I found a quote that goes right along with our topic tonight. I can't believe who this comes from, don't get me wrong, but that's a whole nother story. The only thing that scares me more than space aliens is the idea that there aren't any space aliens. We can't be the best that creation has to offer. I pray we're not all there is. If so, we're in big trouble. And that quote, ladies and gentlemen, is from Ellen DeGeneres. And I cannot disagree with her more. If this is all there is, if human is the pinnacle of creation, this is not the smartest universe that exists. But then again, to quote Philip K. Dick while we're on quoting, if you think this universe is bad, you should see some of the others. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this universe has got enough craziness going on within it, right? Like we have within half a month, we're supposed to get disclosure. Within something like 20 some odd days, we're supposed to get official disclosure from our government agencies about UFOs and everything they know about UFOs and UAPs. But I am told from some insider sources, and take that with a grain of salt, because anytime you hear insider sources, always be a little skeptical of that, right? I trust my sources, don't get me wrong, but the way I understand it, some of the stuff may very well be a red herring. It may be things that they've had since the 1950s. Remember, in the 1950s, there was a lot of UFO technology in the headlines, right? Like the crazy German flying saucers, things like that. So, is this disclosure actually going to amount to anything? Is it going to amount to a hill of beans, or are they just going to come out and say, well, they're there and we know it and we don't know anything more than you do? Which is kind of what I expect. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't expect the government in general to know a whole lot more than what us researchers have done for the last 7 decades, right? And, there's another crazy thing going on, speaking of aliens. Biden, as much as I dislike talking about politics on here, this actually relates, believe it or not. The crazy, weird guy that's running this country right now has decided that the word alien is no longer to be used in reference to people from other countries. Now, why would they do that? That one kind of rang an alarm with me. What about you guys? Why would Biden decide to, as demented as he is, decide to change the word alien? And you can't use the word alien in reference to somebody crossing your border anymore. Because if somebody comes over from Italy or Mexico or Canada, they are an alien to the United States. However, alien is now being crossed off the list. Is there a reason for this? Do they know something that we don't? Is there a reason they're disclosing now instead of any other time in history? What has got them so scared that they have to tell us this stuff now? I mean, this is very much unlike our government. Our government here in the U.S. has done everything they can to cover it up for as long as I can remember. Something has changed. I don't know what that is, but something huge has changed. There's a reason that they've decided to give us this information. And there's a lot of information that we've garnered over the years as researchers, right? Like the fact that we know that there's more than just one alien race. The mainstream people, the general population, they hear about aliens, and even I've got the habit of doing this. We're programmed pretty well by our society to think aliens are the gray guys with the funny eyes and the slit mouths. That's what we're told aliens are. But there are actually a large number of species of aliens. Even just within general ufology, we know of the tall whites, the reptilians, everybody's heard the reptilians, but they forget about them a lot of times, and the grays. Those are the 3 main ones that we know as ufologist researchers, and the research we've done and the case files that have come in, we're pretty sure that we know those 3 races exist. However, Russia may have had some information that was much, much more elaborate. You see, there was a book called the K.G.B. Book of Secret Alien Races. Or Secret Book of Alien Races. I can't even speak tonight. Oh, man. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to review this book, and we're going to probably spend about a month doing it. This is a lot of information packed into a little tiny space. This book actually came across my desk about 2012 or so. And when I first found it, I was really skeptical. Now, understand, I am a paranormal researcher, which is what makes me extremely skeptical. But I have seen a lot of information on this. And remember, guys, in this show, I am only here to present you guys with the information. I might not necessarily believe it one way or the other, but I am here to present it to you and let you make your own decision. Let you be the judge, right? So we are going to dig deep, deep, deep down this rabbit hole and explore the K.G.B. Secret Alien Race book and its contents. So this is the introduction to the Alien Races book, and on the front cover it's got the German woodcut, from Nuremberg, and a lot of funny vehicles in the sky that was reported to be having a battle. That's the opening page of the book. And it comes with its own story, ladies and gentlemen. This is the story of how this book came to be. Check it out. In 2004, I became friends with a Ukrainian guy named Petro that I met completely randomly at a bar by the beach. I was on holidays and he was there with some friends having some drinks. Anyway, we started talking with each other. Our friendship started like that. He became a regular at my house where our families would get together. In 2008, he called me and asked me if I wanted to go on a road trip. I said, sure. He had in mind to go to the south of Spain and visit his brother. His brother was there in jail at the time, near Huelva, and also to visit his father in Portugal. His father was a former diplomat of the Ukraine years before, and when he retired, he decided to move to Portugal and live there. And so we went. We visited his brother, then went to Portugal to visit his father. When we were at his house, he asked as a favor, he is old, if we could empty boxes from one of the rooms, as he wanted to make it into a bedroom for guests. We said okay and went to the room, expecting to see some old newspapers. Instead, we found about 58 boxes of old documents and books from the time when he was a diplomat. Some documents, were in Russian. Some were even from the USSR times. Petro started translating some of them, and we realized that there was a lot of interesting, intriguing, and even top secret, at least at one time, documents. So we asked his father if we could keep the boxes for ourselves. He agreed, and we had went to rent a van to take everything back to the house with us. Week after week in our houses, but mainly on the weekends, we went through all of the documents, translating them, cataloging them by subject matter or dates and places, etc. As due to my work, we were apart quite often. We also did a lot of work online. That's when we found the book. The book that led to the videos that I published. This is the author speaking, by the way. This is not DarkWolf speaking. I am reading from the secret K.G.B. book of alien races, if you're just joining us. It says that's when we found the book that led to the videos that this person published. This one book that we had is updated and looks modern, but we did find the cover, only the cover, for the same book, but dating back to 1951. We called his father later that year and asked him about the book, and he filled in the missing information. He said that amongst high-ranking political officials, there had been the rumor of alien contact, but nothing concrete. The book has hundreds of side notes on the pages, updates, small papers with related miscellaneous info attached to the pages, photos stapled to them, etc. That's how we found out about how relatively recent visits from aliens, their numbers, where it happened, etc. They had been updating the information they could get regularly. But he also said that there were only a handful of people that were in the know back in the USSR days. The leader of the Communist Party at the time, Joseph Stalin, and a couple of others, advisors, 5 or 6 SMERSH, that's SMERSH agents, maybe more, up to 12, which kind of reminds me of the Majestic 12, right? The commander of the armed forces and the commanders of the 3 armed forces branches, Army, Air Force, and Navy, and maybe a couple of scientists. He said that most likely there were people in the know, specifically in the military, but he could not confirm that. People have asked me about some of the illustrations of certain alien races on the book. This because some of them were literally copied off movies and or video games, not all. Me and Petro ask ourselves the same thing as we recognize some of them, and we did contact his father in order to get an answer. He told us that over the years, the people that were adding, updating, printing the book had been using alien images from the media when they did not have a real photo or a drawing from the witness. So sometimes they used images from movies and video games that better describe the alien race in question. This according to the witness testimonies, descriptions of their encounters. However, he did say something else, something entirely interesting. Extremely interesting. He told us that amongst high-ranking diplomats, there has been much solid discussion and debate about a plan involving certain media, from online to paper to Hollywood to the video game industry, and certain security departments, especially from Japan, China, Canada, USA, and Europe, in order to use the right to them images to describe the appearance of aliens. All of the media involved was, in the end, either directly or because they own the mother companies, owned by no more than 5 people. And this was a concerted effort, I can't read tonight, in order to get people, humankind, used to the appearance and presence of aliens amongst us. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier, guys, real quick. It makes you wonder why Mr. Dementia in Washington decided to nix the word alien from the vocabulary, if you will, in reference to people not from this country. Perhaps he's leading up to something like the announcement of people living in this country that are also not from this world. That is, of course, my own speculation. But he, Petro's father, also told us some of the alien races images used in video games and other media were used in the book prior to the release of the game and or movies. Him and some of his friends had knowledge that some of those security departments had actually created some of the images and then released them to the proper channels in order for the images to be known to the general public. This, obviously, we could not confirm, except for one of the images in the book. The aliens used in the movie Independence Day were known before the making, not even close, of the movie, by at least 8 years. Also, some of the photos on the ARB have been tampered with. The Alien Race book is ARB, by the way. And so there you have it. The story behind the Alien Race's Russian secret book. At least some of it. It says, I hope you enjoy the book and all the revelations contained therein. It says this book is dedicated to the memory of Petro. The Alien Race book has been re-edited, information always being updated in all aspects, from new alien races to new reports and photos or illustrations. At least 12 times this has been reprinted. That we know the first edition was printed in 1946, early 47. Then new editions were printed in 1951, says he has the cover, just the cover of that one. 1959, 1968, 1971, 1980, and we believe all the way up to 2011. And then there's the case of the lost copy of the book. In the 1980s, a copy of the edition of the book was found in a field in Buryatia, East Siberia. The copy ended up in the hands of a K.G.B. agent with friends in the media. After the collapse of the USSR, some of the information and images in the book were leaked, sold maybe. Years later, the information and some of the images started appearing in TV series and video games, Mass Effect being the most well-known. This information was handwritten on the book. In 1924, near Yekaterinoslav, Ukraine, now Dnipropetrovsk, and I know I just slaughtered those words. I do apologize, guys. My Russian is terrible because I don't speak Russian. The 3 daughters of a certain Captain Andreik simply vanished. Captain Andreik was of Russian descent, and very little is known about him, except that he traveled a lot. A farmer that lived near Captain Andreik's house said that he saw the captain's daughter walking towards the woods maybe 2 hours before sunrise. Intrigued, he followed them at a distance. After walking for 30 minutes, he described seeing purple and red lights and a mist, end quote, through the trees. He got closer and saw the 3 girls entering what he called a floating bright windmill-like plane, end quote. He also reported seeing 5 creatures as small as the children, but with a, quote, much older face, end quote. According to him, the windmill then flew very slowly into the stars until he could not tell them apart. According to the farmer, he ran to Captain Andrzejczyk's house to warn him about the event. Upon arriving, he knocked on the door, but nobody answered. He then entered the house and found the captain and his wife dead on their bed. Their faces were peaceful, he said, as if they had died during their sleep. All of their animals, 3 dogs, 1 horse, and 2 goats, were dead as well. On the kitchen table there was a letter or note, not signed, with the handwriting that matched Sophia, one of the daughters. It said, "We are going to school in the moon with our friends." Now, what I find interesting about that is I've listened to a guy named John Lear, and he talks about a couple cases, including some of within his own family, where kids, have talked about being abducted and going to the moon to go to school. Now, I find that intriguing that is also in this book. And yeah, he may very well have read the book and just made it up, but then again, maybe he didn't. Maybe his family has experienced something that could verify the contents of this book. Of course, you can't let a skeptic understand that, because skeptics refuse to acknowledge any of this, right? And they're going to have a lot harder time in academia not acknowledging this here after the month of June, perhaps even July, when these secrets start coming out, these UFO secrets that the government has been hiding, everything they've known for a long time. And it's only going to take a couple really clever people to start reading between the lines and figuring out what they're really saying. Figuring out what kind of technology they've been hiding all this time. And I just find that so incredibly intriguing. Real quick before we go to break, I would like to go ahead and read this page here. It says, to SMERSH Agents Department IV A1/12. It is your duty to thoroughly investigate all events regarding any reports or visitations or incidents concerning creatures from other planets, as well as with non-terrestrial creatures that dwell on our planet at the present or future time. You know, I've been told real quick that the MIB movie, that scene with the hangar where all the aliens are going back and forth through that terminal, I've been told that is a lot closer to reality than one would think. And I've heard that a number of times from others also. I don't know how true it is, take it with a grain of salt, but maybe it's as true as it gets, especially if the contents of this book is true, because there's going to be a lot of different alien races that we go over. And speaking of the book, back to the book, it is your duty to immediately present to your superior in charge any material evidence gathered during your investigations. It is your duty to keep absolute secrecy and concealment regarding your findings and conclusions during your investigations, except for your superior in charge. It is your duty to immediately destroy this book in case your physical being or personal safety is threatened. The loss of this book, while in your possession, will result in serious consequences for your 2 SMERSH companion agents, as well as for your immediate relatives. Make use of your extensive training and love for our great union. Chief Marshal Konstantin A. Vershinin, 1947. Which is really interesting, because 1947, as we know, is the year of the Roswell incident. The Book of Alien Races is both an instruction manual and a source of information to be used now and in the future until the day that it will be needed no more. Learn from it and add to it. It says, when with humans, investigate events, interrogate witnesses, and gather physical evidence. When with aliens, engage with them, follow them, and learn from them. That is your mission, ladies and gentlemen, for the rest of your life. If you are engaged with aliens, learn from them, follow them, and engage with them. You are forbidden of showing this book to anyone, talking about the book to anyone, talking about or revealing your investigative activities to anyone, drinking alcohol on and off duty, consuming drugs on and off duty, helping alien races no matter the situation or request, choosing sides when physically amongst different alien races or during investigations, and of engaging in adult activities with any members of alien races. That is absolutely crazy. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the second half, we're going to start digging into the different alien races in this book. So far, we went over the prologue and the preface, and now we're about to really dive deep into this rabbit hole. And we will do that right after these messages. Don't you touch that dial. That's right.
We gotta stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Ow! That howl means your weekend has officially begun. Be that as it may, a day late. Hi everyone, it's AJ, the Rippin' Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's look at the Darkwolf's Den Show? I know I am. If you are, and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. We're here every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, allegedly, bringing you the very best of common sense radio, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. I am pleased to announce that we are coming to you live from Las Vegas. That's right. Nikki Rabbit and I made it back this afternoon, early evening, about 5:30 p.m. But we are back in our own home, and tonight are going to sleep in our own bed. Can you believe it? Almost 5,300 miles and 19 states. We are officially home. And being out on the road 30 days as we left, April 20th, and today is May 20th. So we were literally gone 1 month. It was an unbelievable road trip. I can't wait till this weekend to tell you lots more about it. I'll kick off those stories tomorrow night, Friday, May 21st, as I return with a rebroadcast from last Sunday with organization. As most of you know, last Sunday was a very tough week for our family, and I want to thank each and every one of you who put out a thought or a prayer in my family's honor. It truly means so much to me, and I thank each and every one of you who sent me a private message. I'll tell you more about that situation tomorrow night as we dive through organization. Then Saturday, May 22nd, correct? Saturday, May 22nd. Come along with me down the rabbit hole of railways. We're going to take a hobo's look at riding the railways. Believe it or not, the railroad needs to make a comeback in 2021. If anything, that really needs to happen. Then Sunday night, we'll end out the weekend right together with a look at America's farmers. That's right, they don't get enough credit. Not enough look at America's farmers. And as Nikki Rabbit and I spent so many miles traveling the country, we saw so much farmland. And of course, we're going to dedicate Sunday night to ending out the weekend right together with you, talking about America's farmers. So that's the weekend ahead, folks. If you haven't done so already, hop on over to rippinrabbithole.com. Sign up for that exclusive backstage pass as you're listening to the very best of common sense radio, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. We'll return to Jerry Hicks and the Darkwolf's Den with K.G.B. Book of Alien Races for Thursday, May 20th.
This is My Life DIY, and
hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ, the Rippin' Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to Darkwolf's Den.
The Darkwolf's Den Show on Rippin' Common Sense Radio.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Darkwolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And welcome back to the second half of the Darkwolf's Den Show for Thursday, May 20th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. If you're just joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going over the K.G.B. secret book of alien races. That's right. So far we've discussed where the book came from and the prologue, if you will, that is in this book. And I've literally got it right in front of me right now. And we're going to be going over all the actual alien races and species in this book. That way, after July comes, or June, or whenever we're supposed to get this actual disclosure, quote, quote, we know how our government works here in the USA. But assuming we do get a real disclosure, and it's not a bunch of fake stuff, we need to know who these aliens are, right? We got to have some information about them. And that is what we plan on doing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this series is going to last at least a few episodes, probably a month. We'll see how long it goes. But in order to get finished, we got to get started, right? And the first one on our list is called the Algruk. And I hope I've said this right. Or the Algruk. So it's ALLGRUULK, a.k.a. the Builders. Says they come from constellation Sculptor. They derive from an ancient race of reptilians that has gone extinct. They are specialists at building ships and other devices needed for deep space traveling. They are also space travelers themselves, searching for new raw materials. They can live up to 230 years and were last seen near Tokyo, Japan in 2005. Next up on the list is the Kylie Tokurt. They come from the constellation Vela near the star Sahel al-Malif. They grow up to 2 meters high, 6 feet, and live up to 200 years. This is what makes these guys scary, guys. They can shapeshift and are very hard to detect. I don't like shape-shifting aliens. Just the whole premise. They could be anybody or anything at any time. That scares me, gotta say. When they shapeshift, the only thing they cannot change is the size and color of their eyes. Okay, so there's a giveaway here. They are one of the oldest known races. They do abduct humans and were last seen on Earth in July of 2008. And, you know, when we hear about these abduction cases, we do hear a lot of times that there are multiple species of aliens on board these craft. So that would make sense that perhaps some of them are the same species. They're just shapeshifters, right? Made to look like there's other species to throw us off. It's a theory, never know. The next up on the list are a very well-known group. This is another one that you hear about quite a bit, and that is the Pleiadians. They come from solar systems surrounding the Pleiades stars, more precisely from the planet Era near the star Tegeta. They are associated with spiritual growth and can grow up to 2.5 meters, 8 foot tall. They practice, and I quote, sex cultivation, end quote, the distinct difference between their sexual expressions and their sensual emotions. Their ships are known as beam ships. Although regularly visiting Earth, they have remained mostly silent since 10,000 BC. They are one of the oldest known races and continue to develop the necessary skills, mental skills, to eventually reach their goal, an even higher spiritual state. And you hear this a lot in spirituality, and a lot of New Age talks about the Pleiadians. Next up, we've got the Kylimir Ulk, KYLLIMIR-AUK. Kylimir Ulk. They come from the constellation Volans. The sightings of this race on Earth are rare, and they are considered a mystery race. It is said that they were forbidden to visit Earth around the year 1000 BC, but they did not stop visiting Earth completely. This is because of their allies, the race Maitra, M-A-I-T-R-E, Maitri, which we will come to later. Last seen on Earth December of 1989. So even though they weren't supposed to come here, it looks like one or two of them slipped away and did anyway. Next up, we have the Kurs, K-U-R-S, the Kurs, a.k.a. Gods of Lands. And let me tell you, these guys look ugly. I know it's radio and you don't get pictures. And over on YouTube, I've not found a good way to integrate the picture systems yet. But the Gods of Lands, these guys are straight up ugly. Believed to be related to the race Anunnaki, they come from the planet Dilemans. They are the race behind the story of Enlil and Ninlil. So you guys know the race of the story of the Sumerians and the Anunnaki. Well, apparently these guys are the actual Sumerians or Anunnakis, are related to them. It says to be believed to be related to them. As far as I'm concerned, they're pretty well the same thing, right? After centuries away from Earth, they had recently returned. Their own leader is amongst the most recent visitors. They will now stay on Earth permanently. They will have an important role in years to come. They spend time immersed in precious gold-like liquid that presumably extends their lifespan. And we do know that the Anunnaki had a certain obsession with gold, but according to the tablets, it was so that they could fix their atmosphere, not take baths in it. But who knows? I mean, I've heard a stranger, and we know gold has a lot of magical properties. Next up, we have the Havhune Kandras. They come from the galaxy Sexton's Dwarf SPH. First visited Earth in 934 AD in the area we now know as Romania. They often abduct and kill humans. They also drain and drink the blood of humans as well as the blood of animals. They, and they alone, are responsible for the myth of vampires. Several human governments know and accept their actions. Their human bodies that they use are never returned. Last sighting was in Scotland in 1996. Next up on our list of alien races and our travel around the universe and the different life that may very well exist out there is the Mazarek. They come from the constellation Camelopardalis. Let me try that again. Camelopardalis. That sounds a little better. Camelopardalis. From the 1300s to the early 1900s, our calendar, they were not allowed to leave their planet by other races. So from the 1300s to the 1900s of our time, they were locked into their planet. We're not allowed to leave. They are a very violent and a predatory race. They are known to be allies of the race Maitri. Again, we will come to this one in a moment. Apparently the Maitri have quite a few allies here. They grow up to 1.6 meters or 5 foot tall and were last seen on Earth in August of 2001. Next up, we have the Agralix. So this is the AL-GRUUALIX, Agralix. They come from the constellation Cetus near Deneb Katos Shimali. Although they are often confused with reptilian races, they do not share anything with them except their appearance. Their height is around 2 meters, 6 feet, and they can live up to 350 years. This is one of 21 races that are known to have more than 2 genders. This race has 8 different genders, and all of them can reproduce with each other. Could you imagine that? That would be really confusing, right? The purpose for their visits to Earth is unknown. They were last seen near Lima, Peru in December of 2004. That's interesting that they have the scaly lizard-like appearance. And, you know, if you look at the different life on Earth and the different way it's evolved, if you have a planet that is more or less like, say, a desert region, you're more likely to get lizard creatures, right? Because we know most lizards live in the desert. Next up, we have Muvianthin Kafir, a.k.a. the Shining Ones. And we hear that a lot, too, about the aliens that seem to glow. And remember the angels seem to glow in the Bible, right? They had a glow about them. They were shiny. Well, these aliens, these Shining One aliens, come from the constellation Vulpecula. And no, I'm not saying angels are aliens. I'm saying the ones we're talking about here are called the Shining Ones. They have met with at least 2 USA presidents, as well as USSR and now Russian leaders, and some high-ranking officials. They supply limited amounts of their technology to humans in exchange for the freedom to conduct abductions. They do not involve other alien races in this process. So these are our typical Greys, right? These are the ones that made the deal supposedly with Eisenhower to be abducting humans. They had a big role in Siberian and Tibetan cultures. They still have bases in those areas in the north face of the mountains. They have colonized over 40 planets outside of our solar system so far. And there's no update on here on when they were last seen on Earth, because these guys, I think, are seen on Earth all the time. Again, these are your classic Greys, right? Probably your 3 or 4 foot tall ones, shining. They don't look to be the tall Greys. But again, the pictures in this book, as we found in the first half, a lot of them are stuck in just as a representation thereof. And also remember, we hear a lot about the Galactic Federation of Light, right? I like it, dislike it, scoff at it, whatever you may do. We've had actual legit officials speak about this, right? Well, perhaps there is a federation of these different alien races. It would only back this idea that much further, right? Of the 58 races described here, the Rock, R-A-K, or Rak, is the only race that has visited Earth that we know of so far, only 5 times. They visited the area we know as the Middle East, and that created the belief in the jinn, or genies, in Islamic mythology. Although I totally disagree with this, I follow the idea of the jinn actually being a spiritual creature, but that's not what the book says, and we're here to go over the book, not my personal beliefs, right? According to some Muslim scholars, they inhabit an unseen world in a dimension beyond the existing dimensions of our universe. So, okay, that kind of backs up the spiritual thing. According to reports from other alien races, they stopped visiting Earth because their immune system could not cope with Earth's flora and fauna. Last recorded visit to Earth was in 712 AD. So that was a long time ago, right? 712 AD. That was before most of civilization even really got going, right? The Invisibles. And funny enough, it says there's no image for these creatures. They are called the Invisibles. I mean, let's be honest here. I love it. All right, guys. This race is known to have been seen, quote, unquote, near high security areas. They are almost completely invisible to the naked eye. And it does make you wonder, what is it around us that we cannot see, right? We only see in a very limited band of light. There could be creatures that live in bands of light 3 or 4 grades above ours that we don't even see, and they're around us all the time. That's a could be, understand. Back to the book. Both the USA and Russian military have developed technology that allows them to track the Invisibles on radar, just the ships. 3 things are known about this race. 1, they leave a sour smell when they are near. 2, when they are near windows, you can see the reflection as a smudge-like figure. Have been caught many times on CCTV footage. When many dogs, or only one, start barking with no apparent reason, it is possible that they are nearby. Or the reptilians could also be, because dogs react to them the same way. They come from the constellation Mensa, and the purpose of their presence is unknown. And we're going to leave it right there, ladies and gentlemen, with the Invisibles. And I can't believe we've already done a whole episode, and we barely even dug into the first couple pages of this book, right? We're at page 13 right now, and that's where we're going to pick up tomorrow night with the next part of our series on the alien races. But what do you guys think so far? Do you think that what this book is saying could be true? Do you think it is a legit book? As perhaps it is not at all, but we're still going to review the information just the same, right? In the end, all you can do is listen to the evidence, apply a little common sense, and You be the judge. We got to close it out. That's right, that's it for this episode of the DarkWolf's Den Show for Thursday, May 20th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. The den may be closing, ladies and gentlemen, but don't you worry. Now that we've got this weekend kicked off right, the weekend fun has only just begun. That's right. I'm going to turn the reins over tomorrow to my good buddy AJ the Rippin' Rabbit, and he's going to come back with a Rippin' Rabbit Hole live show. That's right, on Friday, May 21st, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. All episodes and shows here on the network start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. That's right. Tomorrow, he's on Friday, May 21st, he's going to be talking about organization. I personally am a disorganized organizer, right? It's controlled chaos. I know where everything is, but you probably look at it like it's a mess. Perhaps I could use some tips that AJ could give me on his show on organization. And if you are looking for good tips on organization, maybe you should also tune in on Friday, May 21st, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, on the Rippin' Rabbit Hole live show right here on Rippin' Common Sense Radio and the RippinRabbitHole.com. And then on Saturday, May 22nd, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, AJ the Rippin' Rabbit comes back with another amazing episode of the Rippin' Rabbit Hole live show. On Saturday, he's going to be talking about railroads. They're railways, this says, but I'm sure it means the same thing. There are some people even today that still enjoy playing with rail trains, and railways are still an integral part of this nation, believe it or not. And it's something that is definitely a fun conversation, whether you like riding trains or playing with the toys. Definitely check that show out. And then on Sunday, May 23rd, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, AJ the Rippin' Rabbit comes back to round out the weekend right with his episode on America's farmers. Those trains he talked about on Saturday haul the grains and the amazing produce that are grown by America's farmers all across this amazing country. It's definitely the other backbone of this country, and something that definitely needs to have a light shown on it. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tune in to hear about the dying breed of American farmers on Sunday, May 23rd, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, right here on Rippin' Common Sense Radio and the RippinRabbitHole.com. The RippinRabbitHole.com, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, RippinRabbitHole.com. That's right. Over there, you're going to find the place to sign up for your Backstage Pass. That's going to get you access to all the fun stuff on that site, like the Down the Rabbit Hole section. That is our exclusive social media area over there. Come on by, drop us a line, and check us out. Also, while you're over there, make sure you check out the 24/7 Backstage Lounge. I'm going to take myself over there here in just a couple moments and hang out with the rest of the rabbits, and we always have an amazing conversation about a variety of topics. So if you want to carry this conversation on, definitely come on back and see what's going on in the lounge. Also, while you're on the RippinRabbitHole.com, make sure you check out the groups section. We've got a variety of different groups. I'm not even going to begin to go through them because I would spend the rest of the show reading off random groups. So there's so many. You guys make sure you check those out also. All right, guys, I've got to get out of here. It's been an amazing time. I do again apologize for last night. I appreciate everybody coming to the birthday bash. If you're listening over on the DarkWolf's Den Show channel, go over to the Rippin' Rabbit Hole channel. Make sure you sub over there. Also, make sure you drop us a like, drop us a sub over here at the DarkWolf's Den Show channel, as well as hitting that like button. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of AJ the Rippin' Rabbit, Walt House, Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, our amazing mod team over there, the king and queen of the Rippin' Rabbit Hole, Mr. Juanito 1975, and Miss Earth Daughter, the champion of the Sunday Night Vids, as well as Mr. Tom Baillies for this great music. Hit it, Tom. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Baillies, you need a custom soundtrack for your next project. Make sure you check out Red Shed Studios and Mr. Tom Baillies. Links in the description on YouTube if you're interested. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all these amazing people, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And remember, until next time, stay awake, but dare to dream. How? Yeah. Good night, everybody. Get down with it, Tom. All right, Tom, let's cut it. We got to get out of here. Bye, everybody.
Unlocked and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner. Is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner. Is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark